And here we are, spawning in the bottom left. In the blue, representing Team NV, he's MARU. And in the upper right, in the red, he's Dark. All right, so we're going to have to see what our players decide to go for here. MARU, of course, he played 3 games against Cyril in the upper bracket. Cyril did 3-0 him. Cyril played 3 very different styles, but all 3 of them went pretty late into the game. MARU lost to Hydraling Bane into Hydro Lurker Viper in game number 1. He lost to Mutiling Bane into Ultralisk in game number 2, and game number 3, he effectively lost to a Broodlord timing that eventually there were some Ultralisks coming on in there. But effectively, it was the Broodlord timing out of a Roach Ravager style, which is, again, not something you would generally see Cyril play, but it worked out for him in that game. And now we're going to have to see what Dark does. I expect to see Dark play something a little bit more Roach-based. That is Dark. He is a Roachy boy. That is something he likes to do. So I expect to see something like that, maybe something a little bit more aggressive, maybe a little bit more variance in what happens in the early mid-game. As, of course, Cyril did play 3 very different games in games 1, 2, and 3 that MARU played against him, but they all had the same idea. Get to the late game, defend on creep, get to the late game, and win from there. Dark, though, he's a different player. He's a very good player. I mean, of course, he's the world champ. He's the last world champion we'll ever see out of BlizzCon, most likely, which is a really sad thought. But he is the reigning world champion. He's an incredible player, and over the last month, he's really turned it back up again. He's showing that form that he had at the end of the year last year that allowed him to go in and win BlizzCon, even as his 2020 has maybe not been the best, but realistically, I mean, who has it been good for? I guess it's been good for streamers as people sit at home and we just get to more people watch StarCraft content, more people watch other esports content, and this is interesting. So MARU deciding to go for a second Reaper in this game number 1. You might say, hey, Bayo, what's the big deal? Well, you don't see that. You generally just see a Reaper into a Marine into a Reactor, but no, MARU, he's going for a 2-Rax, or he's going for a 2-1-1 here, and this is not something you see all that often. Not at all. So there we have it, the 2-1-1 on the way, of course. Dark is probably aware of this. Now, double Reaper into 2-1-1, that's just, you don't see that. You don't see that. But MARU, Dark probably aware of this. He sees the lack of Hellions, and I believe he did see that second barrack. So, Dark knows what he should know what he needs to deal with here. You get out about 32 lings, you get your 7 queens. Now, there we go, 3 on the way, and then we're going to have 2 more, and then 2 more, and they're going to be ready by the time that 4 minutes and 45 seconds, 4 minutes and 30 seconds timing hits. Of course, 2-1, the medevacs are moving across the map at right around 4:30 with 16 Marines. And then it hits right around 4:45-ish, depending on the map size and all that. So that's what we're going to see here, and Dark should be ready for it. We do have a bunch of Zerglings on the way. Not Infestation Pits, excuse me. Evolution Chambers on the way, as Dark really getting ready to move on into the mid game. All right, so actually maybe this isn't. This kind of looks like a 2-1-1. But, I mean, again, Maru's not really getting all aggressive at the moment. This is not the timing that a 2-on-1 generally hit. And he's going for his second factory really early, too. So this is... Huh. I'm sitting here confidently talking about how exactly Maru's going to hit his timings and everything's going to happen. So this is, I think this is more of the TY version of a 2-1-1 build, where you still do get a third command center relatively quickly behind it. But do we have that third? Yeah, we do. So there we go. Yeah, that's what this is. This is the TY version of a 2-1-1, where you still hit it before 6 minutes with your 16 Marines, and it's still powerful, and you still have stim, but... Well, you don't really, you're not really able to get exactly what you're not able to hit that early of a timing, but on the flip side, you have a third command center, so you're in a pretty good spot. And now Dark has hit all of his queens in position here. Now, the lack of creep spread between the main and the natural is proving to be a little bit of an issue. As, well, Dark, he's trying to do what he can, but it does make it that much more difficult for queens to circulate around. Now, there is that creep tumor that is in the between the main and the natural that will eventually spread creep, and there we have it. But maybe there's a little bit Dark could have done for that timing. So now he's going to step forward and get on top of a queen. Queen, oh man, he had the opportunity to kill the queen off, but will not do so. As now MARU coming on in here, and of course the Zerglings, they will surround, and yep, Medivacs will be forced back. Behind this, Dark has a Baneling Nest on the way. Lair is just about done, and 1-1 is going to be so far in advance of MARU here, but Dark is going for this run by on the third base, and it doesn't really do much because there's nothing at the third base. As Dark, yeah, he's got a quick third base. Well, quicker than a normal 2-1-1's third base, but that doesn't mean he has not cut SCVs to deal with things. Actually, really hasn't. He really hasn't cut that many SCVs, but what he has done is not shuffle them over to the third base yet. I guess worried about a counterattack that Dark is very clearly going for here, so that's going to work out. But now, of course, the run by is coming on in earnest. But with these Widow Mines, yeah, Dark should not really be able to get too much done here. That being said, though, I mean, Maru's just picking everything up. He's not going to burrow the Widow Mines, and now Dark is reigning supreme on this map, and the Widow Mines, 2 of them will die. Third will get off, but not really get a whole lot, and third base has been forced to lift. Meanwhile, MARU, on the other side of the map, really, he's just clearing some creep. He's not really going to be able to take this fight here, because, again, it's 1-1 versus 0-0. Combat shields aren't even done. These Marines are not scary. Not really. But MARU... Again, he's never doing any one thing he's not ever doing anything at once, and this is actually pretty cool. So Dark, he has a static defense, and okay, three drones will go down. Oh, look at that! Dark is just on top of things. And now we have MARU, Dark running here for the counterattack as well. Dark, of course, morphing in a spore while the projectile was in flight to make sure that the drone didn't die. That's just a flex. But anyway, Dark is getting 2 spines at every mineral line just to make sure that he really does not suffer from these Widowmine drops that have just plagued Zergs recently. And generally, yeah, you don't see big commitments to static defense by pro level Zergs at this point in the game, because it just feels expensive. You'd rather have Zerglings and Banelings and Mutas or whatever you want. But no, Dark is just going a pure Zergling styler, and it's working out really well for him. As now, once again, his counterattack's doing a great job on the third base. MARU has just not been allowed to have it. And these upgrades are really coming to fruition, as MARU can't really I mean, now he is 1-1, but the size of MARU's army is just really not there. So even as he does have Widow Mines, even as he has 1-1, as he has combat shields, as he has these Medivacs on top, he's just not able to fight the army. And the command center has been forced to lift, and more importantly, it is burning down. I don't know if MARU has noticed. I mean, he should now. But... command center is burning, and that's unexpected. And once again, Dark has a massive upgrade timing window here. Baneling speed's not done yet, and that's okay. Well, is the command center still burning? All right, you got to repair it, MARU buddy. You got to okay. There we go. Repairs now on the docket, but Dark has this massive upgrade timing window, as 2-2 is just about done for him. 2-2 is 25% done for MARU. Dark is going to be really happy for a long time. Now we do have this drop coming on it, and this 1 spine is not enough to really deal with it. Really, I think you do need 2 spines. And 6 workers will go down, but now with the Queen softening things up, it looks like the drop will go off, but I think the spore should be enough there. Yeah, there we go. The spine going to go off, and nothing doing. And now just massive amounts of Zerglings, not even Banelings coming on in here. And this is kind of a cool style we see. from our red Zerg player. Just the lack of reliance on Banelings means that he has a bunch of gas for whatever his tech transition will eventually be. And just these mass Zergling swarms, the couple Banelings are just bowling over MARU's third base again and again and again. And he's just not allowed to mine from it. So this has been it is 10 minutes into this game, and MARU is a 2-base Terran. Dark is looking absolutely terrifying in this game number 1. Alright, so now Dark running on in. Not a lot of Banelings once again, and once 2-2's done, I mean, that's a little bit scary, but I mean, MARU just doesn't seem to have the army where he needs it. So once again, the third base will be breached, and MARU's going to drop his army on top of all these Banelings, but that just means the Banelings are going to kill the army, and the third base, it has been forced to lift once again. There's just no army for MARU here whatsoever, and GG Dark! He takes game 1. And that was just a tour de force from Dark there. From start to finish, he took no damage from the 2-1-1. He got his third base up as he wanted to, and he just started slapping things aside. MARU was just never able to land his third base. And when you don't get a third base as a Terran player, you're just a little bit sad. So Dark, having a pretty good series thus far. Well, should say pretty good series thus far. It's only game 1. But anyway, game number 2 will be on Lightshade. Here we go. And here we are spawning in the upper left. In the blue, representing Team NV, he is MARU. And in the bottom right, in the red for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, the world champion, he's Dark. And what are we gonna see in this next game? MARU has not shown any tendency for shenanigans in game number 1. Really, in any of the games we've seen him play from TSL that I have had the opportunity to cast. So I don't expect him to do something really crazy. I mean, we might see some sort of Hellbat thing, taking a note from Kier's book. But again, MARU just really seems to like to play the late game, and I do like how Dark has been punishing that. So we may see an attempt to turtle on into the late game once again, but on the flip side, well, Dark's just kind of killed him with a bunch of Zerglings in that last game. Now, I don't think we're going to see that 2-1 build for MARU again. It didn't feel very good. So where are we? No, do we have a Reaper? Yeah, no Reaper this time. Just a double Marine, or Marine first, excuse me, into the reactor, into whatever MARU decides to go from here. And that means Dark, as he did commit for 6 Zerglings last time, will do it again. And that's just a little bit of nice little bonus that MARU can build for himself early on, as he's just not getting anything too expensive. He's not buying that 50 gas that a Reaper costs. So he's able to get his factory that much faster. He's able to get that orbital that much faster. And, well, Dark, you bought 6 Lings that he's just not really going to use for the next couple minutes. And yeah, he will eventually use them, but you would instead of 6 Lings, you would much rather have 3 more drones, get your third base that much faster, all that jazz. So MARU, which is a tiny little bit of an advantage in this game number two, but tiny advantage. Most likely will not be the difference between victory and defeat. And Dark, at the very least, he's using his Zerglings. He wants to remove these rocks anyways, as they are siege positions that's going to potentially make his life more difficult in the long run. So, there we have it. And it looks like, okay, so there's a youth thermal build that pretty much feels like a 2-1-1, but it's not. But it does still hit with a lot of Marines and 2 medevacs at roughly a similar timing. I don't think that's what we're seeing here, especially because we do have Hellions on the way. We may see, but with the medevacs being built, we may see an armory go down to see like a Marine Hellbat timing. There we go, 7 Marines. Okay, so it's not going to be a Hellbat timing, it's just going to be a Marine 2 Hellion timing. Rather weird, but you know, Dark does appear. Dark is aware of things. Says, "Oh, you had a lot of Marines early on, and not a lot of Hellions. Maybe I should be a little bit scared." So 12 more Lings on the way to deal with whatever MARU decides to go for. And the other Zerglings will catch that medevac. So medevac going on into the main base. A couple Zerglings already there, more on the way. And MARU really should not be. Yeah, MARU's not really going to be allowed to drop this. 1 Marine will go down. And well, beyond this, 30 Command Center is on the way, but these Zerglings will not be able to get in. Now, third is done. MARU's going to be able to take that sooner rather than later. And this time, MARU's not going to be dealing with this just tremendous upgrade differential that he dealt with in the last game, where he couldn't fight Zerglings, which is not something you expect all that often. And Dark, he appears to have forgotten his Carapace, or at the very least, he's intentionally delaying it. And that is rather interesting, because when you're playing against Bio, Carapace is what matters. It's what allows your Zerglings to survive to get contact with the army. It's what your Banelings. What allows Banelings to survive to get contact with the enemy, and that is that is the important thing. So it's really interesting that Dark has decided to go for melee instead of Carapace as the first upgrade into his Evo chamber. But of course, I mean, eventually he's going to get both. But again, that's rather interesting. Not expected, but we're going to have to see how it works out here. It very well likely may not have much of an impact, but yeah, so it goes. So now we have a lair on the way. So Dark, he's going to stick on hatch tech for the moment, as we should see a Baneling nest coming down sooner, unless there was a Baneling nest and I missed it. There we go. So yeah, Baneling nest coming on down now, as Dark will just rely on Zerglings to keep himself safe for the moment. Zergling Queen is a pretty great defensive option. And there we go, 4th base on the way, of course, this 4th base in the 12 o'clock position. And I do like this. We do see Zerg players do this more and more instead of taking that tempting natural 3 o'clock position that you would normally go for. Instead, you go for this back position, and it is a lot more defensible, even if it does feel a little bit weird. It is the much better option here, as now 3 medevacs will show up, 3 medevacs will be forced back, and Dark keeping himself safe, and he just continues to push his creep forward. On the left-hand side, not really great yet, but it is pretty much even with the 4th base, and that's kind of the marker that you're looking at when you say, hey, is my 4th base going to be defensible? Well, if there's creep around it, the answer is yes. If the creep's not around it, the answer is no. But now actually it looks like MARU will be able to force a cancel there. Not able to get the drone though, so that's gonna be pretty good. And we're playing wow, Tark is playing a heavy Zergling style here, as he has 2 macro hatches one done and 1 on the way this early on into the game, which is insane. But when you're just relying on purely Ling Bane for a good bit of it, that does work out. Yeah, right. We do see the 1 macro hatch when players play Hydroling Bane a good bit, but this counterattack is massive. 18 workers have died, and hey, this map is a short map, so yeah, MARU's going to take this as an opportunity to maybe get on top of things. And if he gets the Baneling nest and gets Baneling speed, that is going to be absolutely massive here. Baneling speed is going to get denied, and now MARU is going to have such a much more powerful army for the next 3 minutes here. As the Banelings, they're going to be slow. Yeah, sure, they can fight off creep, but there's 0 chance that they fight off creep. And MARU does have, well, he does have upgrade leads. MARU's not even losing this fight, not until the Banelings show up and force him back. But of course, 20 SCVs have gone down. So MARU, he got great work done, absolutely. But on the flip side, he lost his third base. Once again, Dark is just not allowing him to really have a functioning third base for any point in this game. So we have Hydras on the way. So Hydraling Slowbane is not the worst thing. At the very least, he does have Hydras. It's not like a pure lane Bane like he was trying to play the last game. So the Dark has that one thing in his favor, and he does have his fourth base just about. Actually, no, it looks like the fourth base was canceled once again. Excuse me. So Dark stuck here on 3 bases, and that means that the damage MARU took not nearly as impactful. It's not like Dark is sitting here on 80 odd workers and has just been pounding away and he's soon gonna max out. No, this is a relatively even army supply, and Dark cannot leave his creep. They cannot even conscience making a defense off a creep and all. He cannot afford to let his banelings do that because they won't make contact whatsoever. So MARU absolutely taking advantage of this. We do have a fourth base on the way for him. 2-2's just about done, and he's just marauding on the map. He's sitting on the edge of creep now, saying, "Hey, Dark, come on, you fight me. You know you want to do it." But that is exactly not what Dark wants to do for the next, minute as he waits for Baneling speed to complete. Alright, so Baneling speed is just about done, which means Dark will actually be able to do something on the map in the next bit. But you also got to remember here, Dark is down an upgrade, and more importantly, he's down Carapace. And Carapace, again, that's what makes a difference in these fights, that allows Banelings and Zerglings to actually make contact with the Terran army. So while Centrifugal Hooks are finally done at almost they're going to finish at just about 10 minutes into this game. Generally, they'd be done by 7:30. For the most part. I mean, I have seen games where the Zerg player delays it that much, but that generally it's because they are going roaches first, or it's been a weird game, or it's been a proxy, there's been proxies or something, but that's not what we see here. And now 2-2 is just about done, just about 25 seconds. And plus one range is on the way as well. So Dark is looking to go into Hydra, or go into Lurkers behind this. Next, he will be able to click off go into Medevac as well, so that's going to be pretty good for him. Just snap down a decent chunk of MARU's supply. But MARU, he has 3-3 on the way, and he's done a really good job of capitalizing on this advantage, really, keeping creep back. Now the tanks are going forward, but MARU or it looks like Dark will be able to get on top of this for the moment, but MARU's not losing a whole lot. I say he's not losing a whole lot. He is down a 30 army supply, so as good as this has looked for MARU for the last game, almost, Dark, he's up 30 army supply. He's up almost double his opponent's he's up 30 supply. He's almost up double his opponent's army supply at this point. And he's starting to get aggressive here. We do have a big attack coming on in on the right-hand side here. Zerglings and Banelings doing what they can to get on in. Now, there is a full siege up, but that just what that means with how little army supply there is MARU's, or Dark, excuse me, is able to get on top of the fourth base. Well, as the fourth base lifts, now he will find part of MARU's army here undefended. So now Dark, he's maxing out 120 army supply to 76. That's a 50 army supply delta, and that is absolutely something that Dark is going to look to take advantage of here, as the upgrades are even for the next 30 seconds until MARU's 3-3 comes on in. And there are not a ton of tanks, only 3 tanks on the map. So yeah, there's some city that will allow for that, but Dark, once all this rally comes in, he will absolutely be able to just come on in and slam. And welcome MARU to the jam, as now Dark's rolling on in with that army supply lead that he has built up over the course of this game. Banelings come crashing into so many Marines. MARU not really splitting as he's forced to take the fight at 3 places at once. Tanks are firing hard, but there's just not really anything there. And Dark, he's up 70 supplies. He penetrates the third base once again. 24 workers have gone down, and the third base falls. And now Dark, sure, he's going to back up. He can do that if he wants. 3-3 is now on the way. As Lurker Tech is done, we should see Lurker upgrades going on in a second. Viper's on the way, and Dark is doubling the supply of MARU here in this game number 2. What a fight. Dark attacking from all angles at once, across multiple screens. And unfortunately, MARU was just not able to micro that against that many Banelings on that many screens. And we do notice here Dark one of the few the Zerg players that will go for anabolic synthesis over seismic spines, wanting to make sure that he can just get his lurkers on top of things, burrow them, and kill the Terran army off. Doesn't really matter if they have the long range, because you're just burrowing them on top of the Terran army anyways, and that allows them to be much more dynamic on the map much earlier on, as no Dark sitting here. 120 army supply to 79. But more importantly, he has 5 bases. Maru has 3. And we can very well expect Maru here, or expect Dark here. Once anabolic synthesis is done, once the speed burrow is done, just run on top of the 3rd base, or what's now the 3rd base, but run on top of the 4th base and try to kill that off. But meanwhile, Maru, he's getting aggressive on the other side of the map. At the very least, trying to clear off some creep. But look at the 2 swarms. I mean, the army on the right-hand side looks like it's enough to deal with what Maru has. I mean, granted, not true. The army supplies are relatively equal, but that is a lot, as now the army will surround this planetary fortress. No repairs possible. The base goes down. Now there are only 2 bases left for Maru on the map at this point. And yeah, the blinding cloud, it's good. It's not great. Oh, actually, no, it is pretty good. What am I saying? As now the tanks will not go down because of, well, just lack of response, and Dark will lose some lurkers. Actually, that's not enough of a scan. These 2 lurkers are just sitting here behind, and Dark will be forced to get back up. But you've got to remember, Dark, he has 2 command centers. He's 2 orbitals at this point. His economy is so far down. He has 3,000 more resources a minute down the drain compared to his opponent. He's sitting here on 38 workers, and this is not one of those games where, sure, he's got 38 workers, but he's got all the bases he could possibly want. As now we have a run by coming in from Dark as well, as he looks to seal the deal. He says, Maru, you do not get to reestablish an economy in this game. This is your last army, and I'm not going to let you do anything with it whatsoever, as the Vipers are going to come on in, Bailey's going to come in, and GG, Dark. He's going to take game number 2 and put himself on ace point, on match point, in this losers bracket finals, putting himself on a collision course, hopefully with Cyril, in the grand finals of TSL6. But Maru absolutely has an opportunity to fight back. This is the best of 5. We have potentially 3 more games before we figure out who wins. Dark, of course, he has 3 consecutive match points before, well, he has 2 consecutive match points before he has to worry about potentially losing the series. We're going to have to see what goes on here, as game number 3 will be on Death Aura. It's a big map. It's a long map. It is a defensive map. And I am excited for this map of all maps. I've heard good things about it. Was not able to catch it live, but I just heard the game was really good. So we're going to find out what happens. Because our players, well, I shouldn't say our players, they've already played this game. This game happened a month ago, but they're already loaded in to get, well, I'm already loaded in, I guess, to game number 2. Let's go. So, in the upper left, in the blue, representing Team Envy, his tournament life on the line, it's Maru. And in the bottom right, in the red for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it's Dark. Now, it is, I gotta say, it is pretty cool to see Dark so ascendant in towards the end of 2020, as he really went as he has really shown himself to be an incredibly powerful player once again. His 2020, for the most part, not all that great, but his run through TSL, even if he did lose to Cyril in the first round of the upper bracket, his run through TSL has been nothing short of incredible. And well, his first 2 games against Maru have been dominant. Maru, of course, he's got some of the best TVZ in the world. He's beaten Cyril recently. He's beaten Raynor recently. He's beaten just the who's who of top tier Zergs in Europe, in Korea, and Dark just smashed him in those first 2 games. But hey, 2 games can define a series, but 2 games do not necessarily define a series. And Maru has every opportunity here to claw his way back. And I, for one, well, I will not cast in a biased manner, because that's not appropriate. I, for one, am absolutely rooting for Maru here in this game 3. I want to see us go to game 5. I want to see more of games like we saw in game number 1, game number 2. Although maybe a little bit more even, because Dark just smashed in those two games. Really, game number 1 was particularly egregious, but even game number 2, he just absolutely had his way with the NV Terran. In fact, I'm not envious of the position MARU was in those first 2 games. So MARU once again going for a 2-1-1 opening, and that's an interesting decision because he went for it in the first game. It didn't work. It actually really didn't work, and he was just never allowed to take a third base. But I guess it's a new game. It's a new day. Well, it's not a new day, but it is a new game, and maybe he thinks the different geometry, the greater amount of dead airspace that exists in Death Aurora will maybe allow him to get a little bit more done with this 2-1-1 that he was not able to get done in the previous game. And this is also a faster 2-1-1. This is the 430 2-1-1. This is not the 515 3-base 2-1-1 that TY has started doing. But Dark appears to be aware of this. That here he's decided to get aggressive with the 34 worker Roach Ravager timing. And that actually, I think what we're going to see here is we have 2 more gases coming down. So Dark getting up onto that 3 gas mining. The roaches are going to be done, and he's going to be mining off of a 2 base mineral, 3 total gases. So that's more than sorry, that's 41 workers, I guess. But anyway, something somewhat close to there. And just running across the map with a lot of roaches and trying to get some damage done. Now, these may be safety roaches. I'm not exactly sure yet, but that is a lot of gas to drop at 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Generally, we drop gas a little bit later, and with the 6 roaches on the way and multiple overlords, I'm inclined to think that Dark wants to be a little bit aggressive, and yeah, especially considering he's not maxing out, or not mining, or not saturating fully that natural. But there, we're gonna have to see once the overlord does complete. There we go, more and more roaches and leaves on the way. So Dark getting ready to get a little bit aggressive here in this game number 3, and I mean, I think this is probably the worst, not the worst possible. I mean, that's a bit kind of against the Banshee opening, but this is one of the this is not a great position for him to be in, as he will come face to face with a 2-1-1. But on the flip side, the 2-1-1 has been picked up, and if these 2 medevacs don't find this army, and they just go across the map, well, suddenly MARU can't really defend. But yeah, no, he will find this army. We'll be able to just boost his way back home and be defensive. We have 1 bunker on the way. We don't have any tanks. We just have a couple Marauders. So actually, you know what? As I say this, a bunch of Marines are not the best thing to deal with a bunch of roaches. Not this early on, even if they do have stim. So now we're just gonna have a bunch of Ravagers sieging away at these. Whoa, that's a missed bile, but shelling away at these supply depots. And now we're gonna have the army coming on in here. MARU stimming forward, trying to get on top of these roaches, really get on top of these Ravagers. But of course, that is when the Zerglings run forward, when they run interference, serve to be some wheat to the chaff. And so many supply depots are now burning down. MARU, he's got to be careful to not get supply block. Oh, combat shields is going to get taken out. That's a really nice move. But of course, MARU, well, actually, no, he already has stim. What am I saying? So we can say he needs to be careful to not lose stim, but yeah, he already has stim. So, anyways, but looks like MARU, never mind, that medevac is not going to head on up. And now Dark's actually doing a really good job of getting good penetration on into the natural here. 1 bunker will go down. A second one is still alive as we just wait for the Biles to go down once again. And there we go. Biles will go down, but not before Marines leave the bunker. So now we have Biles searching for Marines here. And MARU, he does have a 3rd command center. So as long as he just doesn't lose too many SCVs, which he really hasn't, he's in a pretty solid position as we look to move on into the mid game. This 2-1-1, or I should say this Roach Ravager pressure, has not gotten a whole lot. I mean, it's gotten a bunker. Yeah, it's got a bunker. But that's it. Alright, so this will be 1-1 roaches behind this. Is Dark really leaning into his into the roaches that he has already built and the Ravagers that he has already built in this game. Now, I'm interested to see what the goal of this, whether he does decide to go into Roach Ravaging Bane, into Fast Ultras, or whether this is, whether he drops a Hydra Den once the lair is done or some period afterwards. There we go. So this is, yeah, this is the build I was talking about. Not quite, of course. I think I was thinking more of it just a pure macro build without all this pressure. But he's going to go into kind of Roach Ravaging Hydra into Lurkers and just take advantage of those early ranged upgrades to make his Lurkers much more powerful than one would normally expect. But now MARU's just taking advantage of the fact that there's only so much that Dark can do right now. And he's just losing, he's getting so supply blocked by just losing all of these Overlords. But there's only so much Dark can do to really defend. It's kind of annoying. Especially on this map when you can jump high and low so easily. So MARU is just he's just the Overlord assassin. How many Overlords have died this game? 3 Overlords have died this game, and Dark's getting pretty heavily supply blocked by every single one. But 1-1's halfway done. Lurker Den is on the way, and a Hive as well. So we're just going to see a really powerful Lurker style in this game, number 3. And MARU, well, we're going to have to see how he decides to deal with it. This is a new style that Dark has really thrown out. He played it a little. I think we saw the GSL thing. We saw it in one other tournament, but there are 3 tanks. The one downside of this is this does force the opponent into tanks, and until you have a Hive and you have Lurkers, it's not for Lurkers, until you have a Hive and Vipers, tanks are really good against Lurkers. As MARU will be able to deny this fourth base once again. Now, in this style that Dark is playing, he doesn't care nearly as much about a 4th base as he normally would. He's just trying to sit here, survive, adapt, and get on into that high tech. He doesn't really. He can afford to take a late 4th base because for the moment his army trades pretty efficiently. He's not really looking to actively trade all that much. But now MARU is getting aggressive here on the map. Now we have a couple Hydras on the way. 2-2s on the way as well. Lurker Den is done. We don't have Lurker upgrades as of yet. And Roach Speed is only just now finishing up. Which tells you how fast that Hive is, by the way. The fact that Roach Speed finishes after the Hive goes down. Granted, the Roach Speed didn't start as soon as the lair was finished, but still, that is an incredibly fast Hive. Now a bunch of Roaches on the right-hand side. They will not be able to take this fight, and we should see the 4th base denied once again. And we're starting the first couple times like, okay, Dark, that's manageable. You can kind of deal with that. But now it is almost 10 minutes into this game. The Zerg is only on 3 bases. That's starting to get a little bit scary. Starting to get a little bit more problematic. But now Lurkers are on the way. We should start to see Lurker upgrades coming in. And we do have Vipers as well. So Dark's army is starting to get scary. Alright, so now we have MARU posturing on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side. 7 Marines shouldn't really get a whole lot done here. But of course, Dark, if he puts his army out of position, if MARU is able to successfully pull him out of position, these small drops that are just kind of postured on the map will make it that much more. We'll be able to just get a significant amount of damage done here. Now, 2-2 is just about done, and we do have Vipers now, so these tanks that are going to look to siege up, they should just get abducted. And there we go. The tanks will get abducted. 2 of them will go down. 3 of them will go down. Oh, okay, actually, one of them that was abducted will not go down. But suddenly we're starting to see solid trades. Anabolic Synthesis is just about done. So Speed Burrow is going to be just about done here. And now Dark will find this drop on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side. So that's one less thing that he has to deal with. As now his 4th base, it's established. He's starting to. It looks like there we go. Starting to take a 5th base as well, and he's starting to take the map. He has defended, he has gotten into the tech that he really wants to get into. He has these upgrades, he has these incredibly powerful Lurkers, because again, these are +2 Lurkers. They pack a punch, and Dark actually will find this drop on the left-hand side, says, oh wow, that is a lot of medevacs. I need to do more than just have my defensive Roaches come on and deal with this, as he does decide to go cycle around. But this is an opening for MARU. We do see his army, another army cycling in on the left-hand side. Those Biles actually are going to get a medevac. That's really nice here for Dark. But MARU is just going to step forward, trade as well as he can against all the Ravagers. The Roaches just kind of fight away. But Dark, he stays alive. And now we have 3-3 on the way. So for those of you that are not aware, +3 Lurkers are absolutely terrifying. They just shred everything on the ground. That's not with this drop coming on in here, but all the Zerglings all prepared, especially with all the static defense. I mean, Dark is just not going to get dropped in the main base. Alright, so I really like this. Dark now, because he has the upgrades he's looking for, because his lurkers are so powerful, we do see him going and sending lurkers across the map to harass bases, to do things that you don't always see lurkers do. But why not? They're +2 lurkers. They have range. They burrow fast. You can get them out if you need to, and they're just incredibly powerful units. And now the army of MARU is going to try to go on in here, but again, static defense plus lurkers. You're not really breaking that, not really. But Dark, interesting. In the late game, he's going back for some melee stuff. As it looks like he's going to try to take this fight. Blinding Clouds on top. If they're actually Blinding Cloud, the Biles are going to get a couple medevacs, and I believe that the medevac actually had some stuff in there as the lurker does go on the right-hand side and will get taken out. But there's another one on the way. So while lurkers are incredibly gas-intensive, and you don't really want to lose too many of them, losing one to get some decent damage done, that's pretty fine. As now the tanks will get abducted. 3 tanks do go down. Fourth tank dies as well. And Dark, he's just starting to trade incredibly cost efficiently here. When was the last time you saw resources last like this? Terran resources last 8k. Zerg 6k. You're generally used to seeing the Zerg up or down, whatever you want to call it, spending 3,000, losing 3 to 4 to 5,000 more resources by this point in the game. Well, maybe not 5, but losing more resources by this point in the game. But Dark has just been trading so insanely efficiently in this game, even as he will lose a Creep Queen due to pathing, which is unfortunate, but so it goes. And now the Roach Ravager Link Bane Force, is it just going to be able to react? So 3-3 is just about done. Baneling Speed is halfway done, and +1 melee is on the way as well. So the Zerglings and Banelings will eventually be somewhat useful. But now Dark has been able to establish, or it looks like he will be able to establish his 6th base now, as these Vipers look for any sort of parasig bombs or abducts, but they were not able to get right where they needed to be. And but MARU, he's only on 4 bases. I mean, he's not exactly breakable at the moment. Getting on in here and be able to do what he can. Oh, that's a nice sneaky little bird lurker, as it will get a full medevac's worth of supply knocked out of the ground. But again, MARU, he is where he's doing fine. He's at 4 bases. He has the mules he wants. He has more. He's at that command center explosion position in the game, and he is getting. Oh, this is pretty cool. All right, that is a lot of ghosts coming on in, and they're just going to assassinate a ton of lurkers here on the right-hand side. This is pretty cool. So we do see we see 2-2 mech upgrades on the way here. As MARU, I mean, mech upgrades are a good way to deal with tanks are a good way to deal with lurkers, but you don't generally see double armory commitment. But MARU very much is almost playing a biomech late game style here, because again, tanks are just so good against lurkers. As this one lurker will get taken out, but not before taking out, trading decently well. And now this run by, this run by is not going to get anything done. Wow, I can't believe this actually. Dark, Groove Spines is only just now finishing up. It is 15 minutes in the game. Dark did not have fully upgraded Hydras. But I guess it's fair. His army composition really didn't care about the Hydras. He just wanted to get to lurkers. So he only cared about the Roaches, the Ravagers, and getting to lurkers really fast. So the Hydra's really not a fighting component of that force. So I guess it makes sense that only now, as we get on into the late game, as we get truly into a Hydra Lurker Viper, that he is upgrading his Hydras to where they need to be. As there's this drop coming on in, but yeah, this drop's not gonna get anything done. But these snipes, though, actually, this is a really good move here, as the drop's now going to go on in, and this base from Dark will get denied once again. Now, Dark, of course, he's in a good spot right now. He's got a 4K bank. He owns the map. He pretty much owns every base but one that he can realistically be expected to take. But you got to remember, Death Aura is a funny thing. It is a hard map to kill your opponent on, which means that both players are realistically going to be able to take the map. And while MARU in the early game was not trading nearly as effectively as Dark was, look at the delta now. Previously, it was like 3,000. It was like 3,500 resources. It's now under 1,000. MARU has been trading better over the last several minutes in this game is now he has a bunch of ghosts, and he has 3-3, or 3-2, excuse me, and he has 2-2 mech, going into 3-3 mech, and now he's making the Sky Terran transition that is so powerful. I assume this is just for a ton of Liberators, but we shall see. It could be for, it's not for Ravens. It's not. It's not for Ravens, but that's a fun thought, right? But anyway, we will start to see a bunch of Liberators coming on in here, and MARU is just getting into that just incredibly powerful late game Terran army. It's tanks, it's Liberators, it's ghosts. As now we do have Dark coming on in here, trying to make a good trade, but with this planetary and the choke in the tanks here, I mean, he's getting in, but let's look at the trade, right? Suddenly, it's even. Suddenly, MARU's ahead. He did not get nearly what he wants, and all these snipes are going off on top of everything. Sure, some of them will go down. Actually, some really nice abducts there, making sure everything stays alive. But now more and more and more, so many snipes as this army is just going to get sniped down off the face of the earth. And look at the resources lost now. Dark. He was 1,000 resources ahead. Now he's 2,000 behind, and I get with the way this game is going, I think we're going to see a lot more of that. Then we will see Dark really take the positive trades that he's looking for, just because of the army that MARU has been able to build for himself thus far. As now this lurker will get shaved off, and MARU getting aggressive here from this aggressive position. It's hoping to be able to deny this, but no. Dark says, no, not on my watch, not yet. Zerglings will come on and surround everything, but they are only +2 Zerglings against 3-3 bio, so not all that useful, not yet. The Banelings are really slow to come on in here, so this is a rather disjointed fight, and Dark looks like he may carry the day just barely. Now it's not even going to carry the day, as now the reinforcements here from MARU coming on in, and that was an expensive trade for Dark. Yes, he's mining more at the moment, but that's still an incredibly expensive trade, and Dark will lose the base for it. So as we say, yeah, Dark's losing it. Dark's mining more. Well, not if he continues to lose bases. And look at this. Now he's down 4,000 resources lost. Not the 2,000 it was earlier. Not 1,000. He's not up. No, he's down 4,000 resources. As we just see these incredibly expensive trades continue to go the way of the Terran player. And Dark's bank that was 4K just a minute ago, it is not there anymore. It's now 1K 3K. Which means, well, you can afford 20 lurkers if you want, and that is 20 lurkers on the way. That is, what? Effectively 6,000 gas or something ridiculous like that, and I get it. You know, you have the double rich Vespine, so you can maybe afford that, but 20 lurkers at once, that is just insane. Now we have Dark coming on in here once again, trying to take positive trade, but there are no Vipers with this army, and you kind of need Vipers to take this fight in the late game, but these Baneling shots will actually be really nice, so maybe that's something Dark can take solace in. But his lurkers didn't move forward, and there are 20 lurkers. Yeah, absolutely, that's terrifying, but well, at a certain point, without Vipers, these lurkers are either gonna have to run forward and lose a significant number a significant number of them, or, well, or they're just gonna have to sit there. But now, of course, we do have a nuke coming on in, and that will force Dark back. And now we do have Vipers finally on the way once again. So that's gonna be something pretty nice for Dark here. As again, you cannot play this style without Vipers. I mean, you can, I guess, but it's not nearly as impactful. And in a late game situation like this, you need your spellcasters. This is not a game that you can play with just Zergling Baneling or something. Like you need your high-tech units to be able to counter the high-tech units of your opponent. And well, MARU, he has more ghosts. He has just as many ghosts as he has Marines, and he is playing a true biomech style here, as he has. Well, that's gonna be a nice trade for our Zerg player. And actually, yeah, no, this is a really good moment here for Dark, as the lurkers are gonna come running on in, sieging up this rich base. But actually, no, with the snipes coming on in, this will not be nearly as good as it looked. Looked like Dark had found his opening, but it will not be able to do so. Now we're gonna have the burrow coming on in on this, what do we want to call it? Sure, the third base, that's what it is. But there's just not a whole lot of mining here. So now the lurkers are gonna go on in once again, but these are 3-3 tanks, so they do pack a wall up. As they will start shelling away at all of these lurkers. And yeah, some of them will die, and the factory will die as well, but Every time these lurkers move forward, they are getting blown from the face of the earth. And this is not nearly as good of a trade as Dark would have hoped, once again. I had a train of thought. I was saying something. Oh yeah, but it's pretty cool here. MARU is very much playing a biomech style. If we look at our units here, 18 ghosts, 13 tanks, and like nothing else. 3 marauders and 6 marines. That don't really matter. So, and of course there's 3/3 on everything, so it's just ghost tank. And that's a pretty cool response to this, actually, to be totally honest. Ghost and tanks both deal with everything that Dark has pretty well, assuming that the Vipers don't get their abducts off, but that's what ghosts are for. Do we have enhanced shockwave? We do. So now MARU, he is if the Vipers are clumped up at all, he's just able to EMP the Vipers, and suddenly that's not really a whole thing. As now we do have the full army of Dark on the right-hand side, but the Ghosts are coming on in, and the tanks are firing away. But now Banelings, of course, the whole goal of Banelings here is just to force the Ghosts to maybe not get those snipes off that they're looking for. But now we're going to see snipe after snipe after snipe, and yes, MARU lost all of his tanks. And actually looks like he will lose this base, and actually lose a decent amount of these SCVs as well, as they just explode. 10 SCVs going down. So MARU will be forced to give up this base, but now we're going to have snipes coming on in just on top of everything. And I think that Dark maybe is overcommitting a little bit too much. There we go, snipes on top of all the overseers, which means now the Ghosts are cloaked, and with the cloaked Ghosts, we're just going to see snipes on top of everything. So many lurkers are going to go down, and MARU actually, if he'd landed a mule, could have saved that base. 13 workers did go down, but MARU, once again, he's taking a better trade. So it looks like Dark says, "Hey MARU, you've had that 3 o'clock base for too long," and so he will start long distance mining from that base. And you got to remember, in these long games, in these split map situations, every mineral you can take from a base that should be your opponent is potentially game winning, because it does mean that both players will eventually probably be able to mine out everything on the map, get everything that they're supposed to get. But hold that, that's no Dark running on in, and the Liberators, they're not siege, so many tanks are going to go down here. Really nice trade here from Dark. As the drop, well, MARU's going to get a good drop on in as well, so we'll be able to knock out a base. And, well, looks like some of that army will not escape. But again, he knocked a base off, and what we were talking about, this whole idea of each player is most likely going to get every base that they theoretically have access to, that belongs to them on the map. And with that being the case, if you're able to get any sort of money that from a base that does not belong to you, if you're able to mine it out, hold that position, get 500 minerals from it, that is a overall resources mine differential of plus 1,000 minerals in your position. It matters so much in this game. But again, we're not seeing a ton of that. MARU and Dark have the same bases. And this drop's going to come on. This really shouldn't get a whole lot done, but maybe get a couple workers. 3 workers will go down. But you got to remember, both these armies are fully maxed out on upgrades, so it's not like anything dies too quickly. And Dark looks like he's getting ready for a Broodlord transition behind this, as he looks to maybe go into Broodlord Infestor to counter the Ghost tank, which I don't hate. That's a pretty good answer. Of course, Fungals on the Ghost cancel snipes, and then, well, tanks are terrible against Broodlords. So that's maybe what we're going to have coming on in here. Of course, with a double Aspire, that means we're going to have double upgrades. And we're going to see the Zerg upgrade bar fill out a little bit further. I'm not exactly sure what Neural is for. There's not any really juicy Neural target. Unless, of course, Dark is able to Neural one of the Ghosts and EMP the rest of them. And that would be the juicy target in the extreme, absolutely. As we just have scans everywhere on the map, MARU says, "Hey, where's your army? What exactly is your army?" All these important bits of useful information that just makes sure that he is aware of what's happening. and can respond accordingly. Looks like he's got to drop somewhere. Actually, these nice snipes are going to come on in and knock out, what's that, 4 lurkers going down just like that? That is a most excellent trade. Actually, was that a... I'm not even sure whether that was a drop or that was just Dark trying to get rid of some SCVs. But anyway, now Dark once again is going to run on in, and these abducts on top of all of the tanks. The EMP is going to land, but not really, as 2 Vipers still do have full energy. So once again, this base will be forced to lift, start to burn down. But realistically, that base is not an important thing. Not anymore. It's got like 100 minerals left in it, something like that. But now MARU, he has +2 ship weapons on the way. He will be in a position where he can deal with the Broodlord transition that Dark is eventually going to go on into here. But now we have the Liberator sieging up, and it's interesting that we don't have Liberator range yet. With the addition of 3 starports, I really thought MARU would have gotten a fusion core earlier, but he has not. Fusion core is done now, but we do not see extended range on the way. Yeah, but of course, +2 air weapons are on the way here, as snipes are coming down on top of everything, and MARU has just set up a really powerful sieged up position here, on top of this nth base of Dark. But now, of course, with the Corruptors out, well, Liberators are not all that powerful for the moment. But these snipes, I mean, again, any snipe that goes off is free money. As now we're gonna have a couple ghosts go on in, and yeah, not gonna be all that impactful. But hey, nice try, good idea. Arsenal Liberator's going to siege up forward once again. Not really anything on top of anything at this moment, but look at all of these Changeling coming on in here. Of course, this is something you see hyper-level players do. They send a Changeling in. It means they get their abducts properly. But now we do have a Fungal just going down on a couple Liberators. Not really all that impactful, but Broodlords are done. And now this is Broodlord Lurker. And with that, Mara's like, oh, well, time to back up. And we, of course, the 3 Vikings on the way immediately. And there are 3 tanks on the way. I wouldn't even be surprised to see him cancel that. 5 Vikings on the way as he immediately goes into countering his opponent's air fleet. Do we call Zerg Air Army a fleet? Is it an air force? What do we want to call it? I don't know. But 8 Vikings are on the way. His +2 air weapons is just about done. And yes, this was double Spire from Dark here. So he had every intention of getting tons and tons of air upgrades, but he just is not... He's not mining gas. I mean, yeah, he's mining gas, but only notionally. He's mining 44 gas a minute. That is like one drone in 1 gas geyser. Or no, it's 2 drones in 1 gas geyser. I think drone mines 22 gas a minute, I think. Anyway, whatever the case may be, Dark will lose another base, but that base functionally did not matter. It's got some minerals in it, but no gas. And Dark, well, this is kind of the last army he's going to have at this point, unless he's able to find gas somewhere. It looks like he does still have some gas available to himself in the rich Vespine base. And oh, these ghosts going to come in, snipe a decent amount of these infestors, and that's going to be a pretty solid trade for our Blue Terran player. As we look at resources lost once again, it's plus 14k now. There was a time when Dark was ahead by 3,000 resources. Alright, excuse me. I said, oh, yes, I think there's gas there. There is not gas there. There's a reason why Dark has not retaken that. So, really, the only gas on the map, I think, is the 9 o'clock base. And how many... Yeah, it's just about 3,000 gas left on the map for Dark here. And he's not even really able to mine efficiently from it because of all of the nukes. Well, not all the nukes, but really more the extended pressure, the Liberator sieges, and everything else that is making it so difficult for Dark to really hold this position. But of course, now that the nukes are done, we do see all of the static defense coming in here. But now it looks like the Vikings have found a really good position, and a couple Broodlords will go down again. These are 1-0 Broodlords. They are not nearly as powerful as there. We have the Fungal Parasitic Bomb combination coming on in. Vikings landing themselves immediately, but still a couple do go down, and most of the rest of them will have to go back and be repaired. So the siege that Dark has been, or that MARU has been affecting, not as much of a thing anymore. Actually, it looks like the Vikings will not go back and get repaired. As MARU just said, okay, I'll just build more Okay. So once again, we do have these Vikings sharking around, looking to see if they can snipe down anything from the airs. That's a big EMP, as that got what, 4 infestors and a couple vipers. So the vipers will be able to regain their energy, but the EMPs or the infestors will struggle for quite a bit. And Dark says, hey, you know what, to hell with this. I don't want to try to fight in this. It's time for me to fight on the right-hand side. Maybe take that base, but look how much minerals, look how much money Dark has gained from that base. And we have snipes coming in on top of the majority of the Zerg army here. So many lurkers, so many observers are going down. Now we have the Liberators sieging up. And once the observers go down, the ghosts are here to play. So yes, so many workers are dying. 22 SCVs are going down. But you got to remember, there are like no minerals at that base. How much gas is there? There less than there is for Dark at his last remaining base. Alright, so now, of course, these 3/3 cracklings are raising havoc. And the Broodlords have found what is temporarily a good position for them, but Dark is aware of exactly how precarious of a position that is, and he starts moving them back immediately, as, of course, the Vikings are sure to return soon. So now, Dark, I mean, he's just, well, apparently he's mining more at the moment. Mining significantly more at the moment, but he doesn't have a bank. I mean, he has a mineral bank, but it's only about 1,000 minerals. That's, what, 500 Zerglings? That's not a lot. No, that's not right. That's 200 Zerglings. Sorry. And there we go, 34 of them coming on immediately, along with a bunch of infestors. And Dark is just running out of money. I mean, yeah, he has that base, but we're going to hit the point pretty soon where there's no money on the map, where players will only be able to play with the bank that they have, and they're just going to fight over really small 50, 100 resource patches everywhere on the map, like at Dark's third, I think it was his fourth, like Dark's fourth base, like the 1 o'clock base that has a couple minerals left on it, like the 3 o'clock base, although it looks like that's actually just going to be fully mined out. All of these bases, not a whole lot of minerals left on them. And it's, man, it's games like this where I really wish there was a button I could click that would tell me exactly how many minerals are left on the map, but we are not blessed with that advanced statistics. So. But man, what a game this has been. It looks like this is it. So Dark, with his extreme lack of gas, has decided to get +2 air attack. I mean, it's only 150 gas. It's only 150 gas. And I guess that gives you maybe a little bit more fighting power than an extra infestor or something. But I feel like at this point, you're kind of saving gas to make sure you can buy enough overlords or overseers, because I mean, each one of them is 25 gas. And oh, look at this right here, as we do have the hold position on top of all these ghosts, and this is going to be a really big pickoff for Dark, as he's going to be able to get every single ghost from there, and the fungal as well. So this is actually the dream for Dark. Now he's got to do this a couple more times now, because MARU's got a bank. Dark doesn't. Alright, so where are we from an economic perspective? Both players mining under 1,000 minerals a minute, under 500 gas a minute. So we're running out. It's just about one base each. We're not mined out yet, though. So that kind of stalemate, that kind of stalemate condition where no one's done damage and no one's mined, we're not there yet. Although we could hit there in a couple more minutes, as this map is well and truly getting mined out here, as both players are just going to have to rely on their banks. Now, actually, interestingly, Dark did decide to cancel the +2 attack. I guess he thought an extra infestor was more useful. And I can't say I disagree. This is a game that is going to be won by the spellcasters more than anything else. And well, it's really just gonna have to be won by an incredible parasitic bomb fungal combination that's just gonna knock MARU's Air Force out of the sky, and at that point, well, maybe Dark can deal with the ground army then, because he has enough Vipers to be able to deal with the tanks, and you have a lurker. How many lurkers does he have? 10 lurkers. Maybe that's enough, but it's looking scary here as our players are at 178, 168 army supply. That's a lot. That is absolutely a ton of army. And I wonder whether we're gonna see full like 200. I don't think so, because I don't think we're gonna see. Dark is maybe closer to it in terms of how much he's mined out, as we have neural parasites on top of these mules to make sure that they don't steal more. They don't steal the money that MARU was trying to steal. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. The mules have already stolen the money, so maybe Dark thought that if he neuraled the mules, he could get the money out of it. But I don't really know. Oh, and this is going to be a little bit trickier, as we do have the siege up, but it looks like MARU is fishing. He's fishing for a fight. He says, "Oh, hey, look, come deal with my Liberator, deal with my Viking Flower." And the Vikings are going to come on in, get a pot shot off, and they're going to target one Viper down. They're going to target 2 Vipers down. And will they get the third? Will they get the third Viper? Really nice splits here. And they're going to get the third Viper. This is so big here for Dark. He doesn't really, I mean, he has the gas to rebuild it, kind of, but not really. As there we go, 4 Vipers are on the way, but those are most likely going to be the last Vipers we see in this game. It's only 300 gas a minute coming on in here, and there's just not a lot of gas left on the map. So getting those 3 Vipers, getting all the energy out of them, but more importantly, just getting the Vipers is such a massive deal here in the context of this game. Pretty much, yeah, there are banks still here, but in the context of this game, any unit that gets shaved off is so big for whatever side that gets things dead. And now with these 3 infestors on the way, that's pretty much the last of the gas. And I have a little more coming on in, but actually, how much is left here? 400. 900 total gas left on the map, so 3 more minutes of gas, roughly. And then Dark will have no more gas available to him. And that's the world in which we live in. Now, MARU also running into a similar situation, but he does not need gas nearly as much. And interestingly enough, neither player's maxed out. They're close. I mean, they're at 100. They're over 190 supply, but both players have the banks to max out. I wonder if they're just waiting or holding a little bit of supply to make sure that they can actually. Oh, that fungal though. I don't think we're gonna see a yeah, we're gonna see a follow up. Waiting to see what they need to build with that last little bit of supply, keeping it like kind of the Protoss idea of you never want to truly max out so you can have warpins everywhere, but that's not I mean, warpins aren't a thing in this match. But maybe just get themselves a little bit more flexibility. It is intentional. I mean, these players have too much APM to accidentally get stuck at 184 supply. Oh no, these Vikings, what are you doing? Oh, they're gonna get 1 Viper. 1 Viper is gonna go down, and now they're just gonna go back. Now they did lose several of their number, but Vikings are a lot cheaper than Vipers. So now we have this marauding force on the right hand side. Zerglings, of course, will surround it. We'll snatch that up. And that's actually pretty impactful. Strictly because, again, every mineral is important, and there are still minerals at this base, but now MARU's going to siege it up. He says, no, these are my minerals. I wouldn't even be surprised to see him drop a couple mules and steal the rest of it as the drones do go down. And how many minerals are they fighting over here? 75, 45, just about 110 minerals. And, well, 110 minerals, again, in this game, 110 minerals may make a difference, as Dark only has 120, so this is the last army he will have. He does not have the capacity to, actually he has no mineral, pretty much no mineral income. Looks like the mid-left base has mined out. He is not mining from this base. Dark is just tapped out. He has like 1 mineral patch left, I believe. And this is the last army he will be able to make. Meanwhile, MARU has the capability of building another army. Now, it would be just Marines. It would not be the most technical army. But he does have the ability to do that. Or rebuild less of a more technical army, whatever the case may be. So, MARU can almost afford to... I'm not going to say he can afford to trade poorly. But he can afford to trade at a bit of a loss. as all he has to do here, now he doesn't really know what the status of his opponent's bank is, but if he did, he's like, okay, well, my opponent has no money. I'm just going to go and I'm going to trade at a bit of a loss here, but I'm just going to force you to lose stuff that you cannot replace. Now we have a nuke coming on in just to remove static defense, and this is money. This is money that Dark these are things that Dark cannot afford to replace. And now, there we go. Ghosts coming on in. Nice snaps on top of everything, but with the fungals here, these ghosts will go down. And, well, the nuke does a bunch of damage to an infestor. That's about all that will get done here. As both players, they are just jockeying around for position. 279 minerals a minute. No player mining gas anymore. As looks like the last Vespine gases have run out. The extractors extract no more. And now we're down to the last, what? 125. Last 600 minerals for Dark. And actually nothing for MARU once he gets this patch. So MARU will not be mining anymore. And technically that can trigger a stalemate condition, but he's going to keep doing damage. This game is not over just because he's not mining. And he is short on gas, but he has 8 Liberators coming on, and he's decided exactly what he's going to max out on for the last time, as he's actually just sacrificing a bunch of SCVs at this point. He says, I don't really need these. There's nothing I can mine at this point. There we go. No mineral income left on the map for MARU. 300 a minute left for Dark as he mines out those last 2. Oh, actually, no. 55 resources left. There's a little bit more that MARU can make. So a little bit more. He can get 55. He can get 1 Marine. More of minerals, more on the map here. But not really sure what he's going to do with that. As a bunch of Zerglings, they're going to come out on the right-hand side. We'll run in to, it looks like a bunch of Widow Mines. Oh, actually, no. Run on into this tank that is... this is actually so cool. Look at this. So the Zerglings will get on top of things, but notice those SCVs, they're not there to repair. I mean, they could be, but that's not what they're doing. They're just on hold position around the tank. So, with the way the AI works, it actually took Dark attack moving some of the SCVs to be able to get on top of things. But now we have that siege up once again. But again, at this point, it doesn't matter what you siege up. I mean, there's just no mineral income. And I do like this. With the last little bit of money that Dark has, he is buying queens. He is buying ways to make his army last longer. He's buying ways to heal his army, and I really do like that, as those abducts are going to be really good. And again, if Dark can get the abducts he's looking for, he still does have a shot in this game. It's a long shot, because again, that MARU's army is just so terrifying. It is so much more expensive. Although, I mean, Dark's is significantly more gas expensive, but I don't know. There are enough Vikings to one-tap anything in the air. Again, these are 3/3 Vikings, and it's 1/0 Broodlords. And Ghosts, of course, they're going to be looking to EMP things. There we go. First EMP is going to go down. So many of the infestors will lose all their energy, as will these queens. And I'm surprised we're not seeing MARU buy something. I mean, sitting here, he's at 2K600. But opting not to produce anything whatsoever. I'm kind of flummoxed by this, actually. Now, EMP will go off and really not get anything, but we're just seeing the Broodlords slowly get whittled down. And again, anything that Dark loses in this game is things that he cannot afford to replace. The fungal will land. Actually, this fungal, if there are any Vipers, no, they don't have the energy for Parasitic Bomb, not yet. That was almost the fight that was almost the thing that Dark needed. If he was able to knock all that Air Force from the sky, well, he would have had to knock the secondary Air Force from the sky, as MARU. He's got a secondary army. One of these fungals are trying to land, and, well, it looks like, okay, never mind. I was going to say, it looks like a Viking might go down, but that is not the case, as the slow siege is commencing once again. Dark, he has a decent Zergling force. It looks like he's maybe getting ready to get up a surround on the middle of the map here. But I don't even know if you can take that fight. Look at this army. It is 11 Ghosts and a bunch of Liberators. Like, this is an incredibly hard army to fight. Now we have a bunch of Changelings coming on in here. Dark can see exactly what's happening, as MARU very quickly will remove them. But Dark now does know exactly where the army is, what the composition is, all of these wonderful things. And I gotta feel like Dark needs to do something soon. He's just slowly losing his static defense, slowly losing those advantages that he has. And oh, the Infestor, is he gonna get the EMP? He gets the EMP, but not on every Ghost, only on most of them. But that's still absolutely massive there. Infestor going on with the neural, and now this is Dark's moment. This is Dark saying, "Hey, if I don't have a fight, if this is not a fight, I'm not going to have a fight." As we have neurals on everything, fungals and parasitic bombs. Yeah, Zergling's getting on top of everything, but it looks like Dark is just falling apart. GG, MARU. He's going to take game number 3 in what is perhaps the best game that I have had the privilege to cast in the last month, maybe even longer. What an insane game number 3. It lasted 47 minutes. And you're just sitting here, how in the world is this going to end up? But now, game 3 was long. We're going to have to see how long game 4 is. We're all going to get that one loaded up and ready to go. What a game game number 3 was. MARU is back on the line, fights back hard, fights back strong. Says, I'm just going to take you to 50 minutes on Death Aura. I'm going to take that game late. I'm going to win an execution. And, well, can't argue that, as it clearly worked out for him. But anyway, we're loaded all in to game number 4. And here we are spawning in the upper right, in the blue, representing Team NV. Give it up for MARU. And in the bottom left, in the red for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, on match point, it's Dark. So, honestly, the game was so long. I don't really remember. It was a 2-on-1 starting in game number 3. So it worked once. It didn't work the other time. We're gonna have to see whether MARU goes for it again. I mean, it did work in the most recent game. Although, I'm gonna argue that everything that happened in the first 20 minutes of that game kind of ended up being inconsequential. So. But now we have, well, nothing new yet. But I'm really excited to see what MARU's going to do here. As he's going to have to be maybe a little bit inventive. It does seem that Dark in a straight-up game is a little bit more powerful, but, well, when he does something weird, when MARU does something weird, or whether he's able to just take it to the really late game, that does seem to be where he thrives. And that is absolutely what we're gonna, well, maybe what we're gonna see here is Dark. Nothing crazy yet. MARU, is not dropping a second barrack super early. There is a Reaper on the way. So of all the games, this is the most normal, the most well. I'm not gonna say of all the games, because the game number 2 had a pretty standard opener to it as well, but. It's not a 2-on-1. We'll probably see a third command center coming on in there. I guess there's the option that MARU goes for some sort of Hellbat timing, but I tend to not like those. Cure I've cast Cure recently and he made them work, but in general it just doesn't seem to be all that great. It seems to lose more often than it does win, unless it's a funky one where you get a couple extra Hellions and then you add 6 Marines on top and you get Banshees in the main base and. You get a lot more committed, but at that point it's kind of all in. And if you don't get significant damage, you just kind of lose the game. So that's less of the traditional Hellbat timing pressure that you look at, where you get 6 Hellbats, and if you win the game, that's great. But it's not nearly as impactful. All you did was buy an early armory, so not as big of a deal as committing 6 Marines and 2 Banshees and Cloak and all that. All right, so we have that third command center on the way, and MARU says, okay, well, you know what? It worked for me. Going late worked for me. Maybe we'll do it again, but again, getting this early third command center is no guarantee that MARU has decided to go and take it 40-odd minutes. That just means he's getting a third command center. It means he wants to go on into the mid-game. It means he wants to establish himself on the map, establish his economy before getting anything too aggressive. But now, of course, we do have the Reapers of Hellion going to go on in, and one creep tumor will go down. Nice little move by MARU there. And of course, anything he can do to delay the creep is going to make any sort of follow-up push that much more powerful. All right, but of course, looks like Dark wants to go for that same style he did in game number 1, where he went Zergling heavy, really fast upgrades, and just kind of overran MARU, overran MARU with a lot of Zerglings, a little bit of Banelings, but he just had better upgrades, and that was all that he wanted. So there we have 1-1 on the way. Evo chambers, or E-base have not even gotten started here, and yeah, so Dark is gonna have a really good timing on his upgrades compared to his opponent. But he does have to make sure that he doesn't get too greedy. I'm not all that worried. What I will say, though, is this is, in fact, this is not a 2-on-1, so this is not a game where Dark has the opportunity to just smack the 2-on-1 aside and then just strictly counterattack, even if it is a small map. As now we have a Liberator coming on into the third base, Viking on into the main, and a bunch of Hellions sharking around trying to see what they can. So this Viking will land, and Vikings do 4-shot drone, so they can get a little bit of damage done. Now we have the Hellions running on into the main base, and this is potentially problematic. There's nothing here whatsoever. Dark desperately trying to split his workers. They're lining up a little, but there we go. That's the money shot. Potentially 3 workers do go down, but the Zerglings are doing a good job of holding him back for the moment. 6 workers have gone down. Meanwhile, the Liberator is getting so much done here, and this is almost game-ending damage here from her. 13, 15 workers have died. And the economy here of Dark is in the shambles. He decided to go greedy. He skipped on the amount of Zerglings he made, and they were not in position. And now 16 workers have paid the price, have paid the iron price here. And maybe a couple more, but not really. Not with the health that the Hellion, that the Reaper is on. 16 workers have now died, though. And Dark, sitting here on 44 workers to the 50 of his Terran opponent. MARU has Mules, he has Stim just about done, and he has his third base done as well. MARU, Dark is gonna have to do some significant damage to MARU to make up for this damage that I'm not sure he is prepared to do. He doesn't even have a Baneling nest. He does not even have a Baneling nest, so he's just gonna sit back and maybe remove rocks and maybe hope that maybe he can play defensively. Maybe the fact that his 1-1 is going to be so much faster than his opponent is going to allow him to make the defensive stand that he needs to make as he takes that 4th base. Look how late this lair is, though. 6 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. The lair is only just now getting started, along with the Baneling nest. Maybe that works out if Dark has a reasonable economy, but he does not now, even as he looks to go surround these Marines. But they have Medivacs, they have Stim, and that will not work out in the slightest. As now Dark, he's on the back foot. He spent so much of his economy, or so much of his Zerglings, trying to get some damage done. But MARU, aware of the fact that he is so far ahead in this game, wasn't going for a drop, wasn't going to try to maybe get himself more ahead from an aggressive perspective. No. He says, look, if I just defend whatever Dark's going to throw at me over the next minute or 3, or a minute or 2, I'm absolutely going to be in a winning position in this game. As Zerglings, once again, they're going to come running, but look at this, Hellions in the wall. Zerglings will not get what they need to get done here, as MARU's getting aggressive as well, as 1-1 is just about done. And I talked about that 1-1 timing that MARU potentially had. Well, he had it, or that Dark had such an advantage. But, well, it's not really there anymore, as lair is done now. 1-1 is done in 10 seconds. So any sort of timing window is reduced to about 10 seconds, and that is not something that Dark will be able to lean on in this game, as Creep's Red is once again getting removed. I'm surprised we didn't see MARU jump on top of that Queen, but, well, don't see everything. But meanwhile, MARU, he's double his opponent's army supply. There are very few Banelings on the map. 9 Banelings on the map, no Baneling speed. And MARU, he's just sitting here. 2-2 is about to get underway, and as soon as he gets combat shields, I think that's where we're going to see him get really aggressive, but looks like he's not even going to wait for that, as MARU's going to stim on in here. Baneling's going to do what they can, but these are slow Banelings against stimmed bio. I'll give you one guess exactly that works. Now, there is a counterattack, but that's not even going to work out at all. Couple Zerglings going to run into third base, but that is not enough, as these Queens are the only defense of Dark in this game number 4, as he's looking to maybe, just maybe, move his way on into the loser's bracket, into the finals of this tournament. But in order to do that, he has to win this game, and he will not be able to do so, as MARU stimming on in. GG, MARU is going to take game number 4. We're moving to an ace match, ladies and gentlemen. And while that was not as epic as game number 3, it was exciting indeed, as MARU really took it to Dark in game number 4. And sometimes the Hellion run-bys, they are absolutely worth trying. When they get 16 workers, they just kill the Zerg. But now, it's the last map. It is the last map. It's Romanticide. Game number 5. This one is for all the marbles. Winner goes on to play... Winner goes on to play... I'm sorry, this is not the losers bracket finals. This is the losers semifinals. Losers goes on to play Björn in the losers finals. So that is very exciting. And that may be on another video. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen yet, but we shall see. But what I can confirm, what I can guarantee is I am loading up the final map of this epic series. We'll be on Romanticide. Dark versus MARU. Winner plays Björn. Loser goes home in fourth. And we are just about ready to go. And let's get into it. Here we are, spawning in the bottom right. In the blue, representing Team NV, perhaps for the last time. It's Dark. Sorry, MARU. It's MARU. And in the upper left, in the red for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, looking to move on in advance. MARU gotta get past his opponent first. In the red, it's Dark. So what I've learned from this introduction is Dark is playing Dark. So what are we going to see in this last game of the series? Does MARU have some crazy build dialed up for us here? Does Dark? Is Dark going to go for roaches? He's going to do something crazy like that. But it looks like that is not the case, as we do have a Reaper expand coming in from MARU, standard build coming in from Dark here. It's the fifth and final game. It makes sense that both players want to play the game that they are most comfortable playing. As we have Reaper into Marine, that we're going to see a reactor coming on out of that. And yeah, that's just about standard. Third base is going to go down any second now, just about 28 supply. And Dark, well, he's moving on into things now. One thing I am glad to see is the idea, or the pattern that Terrans love to do was, oh, I'm going to send my SCV scout, and I'm going to deny your third for a bit. That was popular for a bit. We saw Zerg players having to find all manner of ways to deal with that, but that's not something we're seeing MARU do. And as a Zerg player myself, that just makes me a little bit happy that it's a little more straight up. It's a little less annoying. As excellent micro here from both Dark and MARU. One Zergling will go down, but looks like that is most likely going to be it, as that Reaper will be forced out and around. But hey, one Zergling. When you get 4, that's just about what's expected there. But Dark could have lost so much more, but MARU could have lost so much more as well. So really great micro from both sides in this game number 5. They're not tired from the series. Not at all. And that's wonderful to see, as we're going to probably... I can't wait to see what kind of games, or what kind of game, excuse me. No multiple left. This is game 5 of best of 5. I cannot wait to see the game that they have played for us today. Then we have Zergling speed on the way. Will complete at around 4 minutes. So this is more of the solar style of things where you pull off gas faster. So you get more mineral income, but your speed is a little bit later. But 99 times out of 100 against a Terran, you don't need speed before 4 minutes anyways. So it's okay. As actually we do have another 2-1-1 variant coming in, but this one, of course, is the TY build. This is the build that MARU tried in game number 1, which means that 16 Marines in a medevac, they arrive on the Zerg side of the map at around 5:20 instead of 4:30, but you do have a third command center behind that. That being said, though, Dark, he's not letting that happen. He's not well, actually no, this is more of a safety roach warren timing. Never mind. This is not roach aggression that we might see. No. This is, well, he might play a roach style, but this is not going to be a 41, a 34 drone roach all-in, roach pressure, something like that. This is just Dark wants to play with roaches. The roaches make him happy. And I can't say I blame him. His roach styles are actually really cool. and pretty exciting to watch. At the very least, this will, of course, be some safety roaches to make sure that Dark does not die to the 2-1, to make sure that Dark does not die to a Hellbat timing, something like that. 3 roaches on the way, and just a bunch more drones. Dark just wants to stay safe, and I'm curious to see exactly what his, where he's going to go from here. Whether he's going to go on and go for 1-1 and actually really fully 1-1 range and go really fully commit to the oh, this is really cool. Whether he fully commits to the range attack or whether it's just roaches and he's going to go back into something like main focus. But look at this. So we have a couple roaches moving across the map here. And Dark is saying, hey, look at me. I'm getting aggressive. You need to build a bunker. You need to be afraid. I did this to you in game number 3. It did some damage. Although, I'm not exactly sure what MARU saw that allowed him to cancel that bunker, but it looks like MARU is aware of the fact that, yeah, there's not a whole lot coming on in. So we will cancel that bunker, and the roaches will go home. Now, of course, a couple Hellions, the Reaper, they're shirking around on the right-hand side, but there's not really enough to get a ton done here. So now we're going to have to see what our players go for. Roach speed is on the way, as is 2 Evo chambers, so we should see 1-1 roaches. I'm curious whether this is the Roach Ravager Link Bane style, where well, it's only 2 evolution chambers. So I don't think this is the triple upgrade build that Dark has been experimenting with. No, actually, yeah. So this is going to be, yeah. This is what we saw in game number 3, where he's going to go, he's going to get Roach Ravager, get decent upgrades for that, and go immediately into a Hydra Den, go immediately into an infestation pit, get fast, get a fast hive, and go from there. Now he does need to get Carapace. Roaches, while they naturally have some armor, while they're naturally a little bit tanky, they do need Carapace to stand up to a Terran army. It looks like Dark has forgotten that for the moment. So he does have the gas port. Now, Zergling's running on in here. Notice, of course, how they're trying to stay on top of these SCVs to tank shots, do friendly fire, but we're not quite able to do so. As now, Roach is hurrying on in to defend things. This drop's not going to get a whole lot done. Dark, of course, giving them the old Roach hug of death as he's looking to take a 4th base. I think he's going to be in a better position to take his 4th base this time than he was in the previous game and the game on Death Aura. And that's going to be pretty good because, well... Oh, double Lurker Den on the way here, and that is rather interesting. Now, I don't know if this is a mistake. I don't think so, because they're timed at just at the exact same time, so it looks like Dark is trying to hit a rather crisp Lurker timing in this game number 5, with both Lurker speed and Seismic Spines. Maybe catch MARU off guard, because, well, you only get one. Can't they get the other? And this is really cool. Now, he does... have to be careful with gas cost here. I mean, Lurkers are really expensive from a gas perspective, but he will have 4 base gas, and Roach is not quite as expensive as going Hydroling Bane. So maybe that's the opportunity, especially as this is just pure Roach. There are no Ravagers on the map whatsoever. So Dark will be able to take advantage of all the gas that he has been saving by just building Roaches. And now with Hydras on the way, 1 Lurker Den is done. The Hive is just about done, as the 2nd Lurker Den as well. So we should see both Lurker upgrades getting started in a second. And Dark, or MARU is exactly aware of the timing. So there we go. 3 Vipers on the way. Vipers, of course, more important than the upgrades in the short term. Because I'm keeping my eyes glued to this production tab. I'm really hoping we see the double upgrades. You used to see a similar strat with double upgrades on Hydras for like Hydra timings, but that has not been a thing since pretty much Heart of the Swarm. And now we have MARU getting on in here, really exposing himself to the surround, but trying to get some damage on. He will target down two workers off of gas, and really that's all that matters. MARU is aware of the fact that all that matters for the 4th base at this point is the gas. The minerals, I mean, who cares? Not really. I mean, you need them, but you don't really need them as, well, Dark has not used that 2nd Lurker Den. Not yet. And he has the gas to get the 2nd Lurker upgrade. Now 2-2 on the way. Maybe he doesn't, but that appears to be, okay, there we go. Seismic Spines on the way. So he will have Seismic Spines and Anabolic Synthesis faster. Is Anabolic Synthesis? No, that's the Ultra upgrade. Anyway, he will have Adaptive Talons and Seismic Spines faster than MARU will expect. And now actually Dark marauding here, forcing MARU to stay on 3 bases. But of course, MARU's army is on every part of the map as well. Both these players really playing incredibly fast as they try to find openings, poke holes through their opponent's defenses. Now, of course, we finally do have our fourth base fully saturated. This drop will get cleaned up, and now Dark's going to be able to take his 5th base as well. But now we have 3 Vipers. They have all their energy back at this point. And we should see, looks like Dark's now getting ready to go on the aggression, put up a little bit of aggression once again. As seismic spires are done. And this time, though, Dark's doing something pretty cool. We do see a Nidus on the way. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple lurkers go and, go and pop into a Nidus and show up in the main base. Now, the 5th base will get canceled, but at what cost, right? We will see a Parasitic Bomb on here. Now, one Parasitic Bomb does not kill a medevac. So these medevacs will get damaged, but they will not die. As now we do have, yeah. Looks like one medevac actually. Nope, never mind. Medevac, other medevac did not go down. But the Lurker Den, or excuse me, the Nidus Warren is just about done. And Dark is going to start to look to see whether he can possibly get his opponent out of position here. Now, a couple Marines, they're going to go on in. Shouldn't really get a whole lot done here as the medevac does go down. Now we have the Nidus Worm coming on up into the main base. Questions whether MARU is aware of that. Does not appear to be. Now, there are a couple Marauders here that could maybe fight, but looks like MARU is not looking at his main base for the moment. So now, of course, the Nidus Warren, the Nidus Network is going to come on up here, and a bunch of lurkers piling out into the main base here. Second Nidus coming on in as well. And this is not just a couple lurkers for a run by. This is an attempt at game-ending damage, at least knocking off all of the add-ons that MARU has at the most, knocking down all the production. So now MARU's going to have to run on in the main base, and the scan is a little bit early, as the army's not really able to fight. Meanwhile, Zergling's running on in, the rest of Dark's army running on in into the main army here, and MARU doesn't really look like he's allocating his army appropriately, not yet. Now, army's going to run on into the main base, but that is a choke into a lot of lurkers, and Vipers are here as well, as it looks like Dark's getting a full surround on MARU from MARU's natural ramp, as so many of these buildings have died. The production of MARU is in shambles, and sure, he's got a bank, but a bank doesn't matter if you cannot spend. His lurkers are going to burrow forward. So many barracks have gone down. 2-2's not even done yet for MARU here. S3-3 is now on the way, and now, of course, we do have the flank coming in. It looks like MARU is choosing to only fight the Roach Ravager side here for the moment. But now, well, now it looks like that fight is going on in earnest, as MARU is going to try to take the best fight possible. But if we look at this more and more, more and more, the Nidus Worm, as Zerglings come streaming on in as well. Now, a really nice EMP will make these Vipers not all that useful. You can't take energy from a Nidus. I don't think. Yeah, I think that counts as a unit, not a building, even if it is kind of a building and a unit. Anyway, now we have the command centers on fire. MARU sitting here at half the supply of his opponent, as this, in one move, Dark went and he just ended the game. Now we will have a scan coming on down here, trying to assassinate some of these lurkers, but these are 2-2 lurkers. They do not die easily at all. But it looks like MARU will be able to clean that up with the drop, but he's only getting one Nidus. There are 4 Nidus Worms in the main base here. And more importantly, everything is dying in the natural. Alright, so these Vipers don't have a lot, yeah, especially now that the EMP is going down. But now it looks like the army went home, and now it's going back forward, so lurkers will burrow on top of this command center. 3-3 is about halfway done, so they're not going to shred quite as fast as they will eventually, but that planetary will go down. And MARU, what does he have? He has 2 orbitals. Store orbitals, that's about it, and nothing else. He's producing off of 1 factory right now. He has the bank, but really, he just does not have the production facilities in the slightest. And GG Dark, he's going to take it. He's going to move on to the losers bracket finals to play Beyond. And what a game, what a series from our 2 Titans.